It's been another memorable 12 months for Wanderers, kicked off a year ago with a famous promotion triumph. Rescued from the brink by Sharon Britton and the New Look board, Wanderers also needed to bounce back on the pitch. With Ian Evatt and his staff at the helm, they did it at the first time of asking. A remarkable run from the turn of the year saw the Whites soar up the League Two table to clinch promotion on an epic final day at Crawley Town. The fans had been denied the pleasure by the pandemic, which forced football behind closed doors, but they were out in force to help fuel the celebrations as Evatt and his men made a triumphant return to the University of Bolton Stadium. After a well-earned rest, it was back down to business to tackle League One, with new arrivals George Johnston, Elias Kachunga, Josh Sheehan, Amadou Bakayoko, Joel Dixon, Will Aimson and Zavamichi in the building, and Dapo Afolayan and Declan John added permanently to the squad. And on the opening day, Alex Baptiste's last gasp leveller against MK Dons put the first point on the board. Progress in the League Cup was sealed via penalties against Barnsley, although Wanderers' luck wouldn't hold for a second time in round 2 at Wigan. But after a high-scoring draw at Wimbledon and a first away success at Lincoln City, the bright start continued, with a first home win over Oxford thanks to a trademark strike from Afolayan and Owen Doyle's winner. The Papa John's Trophy was to add another welcome distraction in the first half of the season, as Wanderers launched a 100% record in the group stage with a win over Port Vale and another home success against Liverpool's under-21s as Bakayoko gave a taste of things to come and Matt Gilks played the final game of a magnificent career. Back in the league came one of the highlights of the campaign, as fancied Ipswich were brushed aside 5-2 at Portman Road. As Afolayan made hay and Johnston bagged his first goal for the club. After a bumper family day crowd against Rotherham underlined the level of Wanderers' support, Evatt's men went big again at Charlton, where fans defied a petrol shortage to travel in their numbers for a heady night in East London. Shrewsbury were then beaten at the Uniball as Wanderers stayed right up with the early playoff pace, but moving up a level was never going to be easy. And a fighting comeback against Gillingham brought the only reward of a testing 5-game run. An Afolayan thunderbolt guaranteed progress through in the Papa John's Trophy, but FA Cup interest quickly ended at Stockport before Wanderers, with defensive talisman and the inspirational figure of Ricardo Almeida Santos installed as captain, steadied the ship with an important win over Crewe. And that kicked off a memorable weekend as the club and wider Wanderers family came together in a show of support for Gethin Jones and his own special people. Wanderers added to their points tally against Doncaster and Cheltenham as Kachunga and Amici both scored their first league goals for the club, and even Ricardo Almeida Santos thought he'd got on the score sheet for the first time. Sadly it was not to be. We'll wait. And the Kieran Lee strike took Whites through the first knockout round of the EFL Trophy. But a bleak midwinter then beckoned as a chronic injury list and the onset of COVID took their toll. Doyle's final goal for the club ahead of a well-earned return home to Dublin couldn't stop the rot away from home, and losing at Ice Station Hartlepool ended hopes of a trip to Wembley. But reinforcements were on the way in the shape of the Magnificent Seven as Wanderers enjoyed a fruitful January transfer window to revive their fortunes and provide an exciting taste of things to come. Striker Dion Charles was first in the door, and the Northern Ireland international made a flying start with 6 goals in his first 10 league games, including a goal of the season contender at Shrewsbury and 2 in the rout of Sunderland, which provided another high point of the Whites' campaign. Marlon Fossey and James Trafford both arrived on loan and quickly became firm favourites. Trafford with clean sheets in his first 4 games. Fossey's stay was sadly cut short by injury, but not before he'd made a big impression. Aaron Morley returned to where it all began as a fully fledged League One player with a big future ahead of him, while John Daddy Bodvarsson brought international pedigree, goals and the Icelandic thunderclap. Wanderers' lengthy pursuit of Kieran Sadlier finally paid off with the capture of the fleet-footed forward from Rotherham, while one of the most successful transfer windows of the Whites' recent past ended with the arrival of midfield dynamo Kyle Dempsey. The future was already looking bright, but Wanderers hadn't given up on immediate success as they looked to make up for lost ground with a sensational run from mid-January. 6 successive home wins had everyone wondering whether the impossible was possible, as Evert's men tried to repeat their heroics of 12 months previously. Even when the odds were against them, Bakayoko came off the bench to score possibly Wanderers' latest ever goal to secure a crazy 1-1 draw at Morecambe. And after a blip at Bolton, back-to-back home wins over AFC Wimbledon and Lincoln City kept the charge on full throttle. The margin for error was minimal though. Despite a superb 3-0 win at Gillingham, dropped points against MK Dons, Morecambe and Plymouth all but ended the dream, for now. Wanderers wouldn't go quietly though, and another late show from Bakayoko ahead of his first international appearance for Sierra Leone at Crewe set the tone for the run-in. Bodvarsson cemented his place in the fans' hearts with a brilliant equaliser at Wigan. Before playoff hopefuls Portsmouth and Sheffield Wednesday were also pegged back by late goals. MJ Williams clipping the Owls' wings with a memorable first ever league goal. It was worth the wait. But Wanderers weren't finished yet as they looked to end their excellent campaign on a high. The playoffs may have slipped out of reach, but there was no stopping a relentless charge to the line as Evert's side collected maximum points over the Easter weekend to keep the top 10 finish on the cards. Sadlier's winner at former club Doncaster earned him a late nomination on the goal of the season poll. And a stunning John Daddy double back home against Accrington capped another fantastic family day in style. With almost 20,000 fans there to see it, was further proof if ever needed. Wanderers are back. Goals for Sadlier and Bakayoko at Cheltenham then made sure the hunt for a top 10 slot was guaranteed to go to the final day. And what a final day it was, as Wanderers rounded things off in style, with Deadly Dion back on the score sheet with a touch of class and a stroke of luck. The Whites made it 4 wins in a row. And fittingly, another goal with virtually the final kick from the inspired Bodvarsson lifted Evert's men above Portsmouth and into 9th. To provide further evidence, Wanderers are looking only one way, and that's up.